So, one of the things that I've learned and what I'm going to be talking about today is the economics, basic economics of agriculture. You see, I can't pretend to understand it all. I never went to school, but it's interesting that I'm earning money from agriculture. And if I am, I believe anyone can because it's a career of passion. So, understanding agriculture. One of the things I want you to know from this chat, from what I'm about to say, is that agriculture is an industry where what you invest multiplies. If you cut corners, if you cut costs, if you say I'm going to save money by not buying fertilizer, not putting in irrigation, or those sort of big things, and you take them lightly, you will not earn what you're supposed to earn. And it's simple. Knowledge is power. Seek knowledge. That's also something very important. If you're like me and you didn't go to school for this. So, what am I saying? Plant maize. I planted maize, and the first time I planted maize, we didn't use fertilizer. The guys told us just put in the seeds, the soil they will germinate, and the soil is very fertile. So I put in some seed, cheap seeds, of course. I cut costs. I bought a version called Longe 5. Now that's the cheapest maize seed in Uganda. Very good in terms of nutrient, but very cheap, and the results were telling. I got what I put in. We harvested from 2 acres. We only harvested half a bag. This is my downest, my lowest moment. That's the worst thing I've ever done in agriculture. Same went for tomatoes. Put in a few 100,000 Uganda shilling. Let's say about $300, almost a million Uganda shilling, and I planted my tomatoes. They grew well, but again, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I cut corners where I shouldn't have cut corners. Places where I cut corners in the past were labor. I cut corners with labor. I cut corners with the fertilizers used. I've cut corners with the land used. I've cut corners with the seeds. I've cut corners. So you see all of these lessons over time. And I've had to go through about 4 seasons of education. Learning on the job is the most expensive form of learning. They weren't kidding when they said that. So I learned my mistakes, and now I'm earning money from agriculture. Season before, I had 3 tons of maize from 3 acres. Last season, I had the season we've just finished harvesting. If you're watching my videos now, I've had more than 3 tons of maize. Then I keep going back to Naseko seeds. I keep going back and saying, listen, you promised me on your packaging, you promised me 4 tons per acre, and I'm only getting like 10 tons per acre. What's going on? I'm only getting 1 ton per acre. What's going on? So they keep coming back to me with more tips, and I keep improving. So now I'm going to be following the instructions they've told me. That's going to be in the second season of the year, not this middle season that's coming up, but the last one, which goes into next year, 2024. So cutting costs is something that I've vowed I'll never do. Same goes with tomatoes. Buy the right seeds, put in the manure, put in the fertilizer. Don't get cheap labor. Cheap labor is the labor that says, no, I'm just going to help you transplant, and they don't help you to apply manure. You'd rather pay someone to do it the way you want it done than to try and cut costs. Same goes with goats. Miss vaccines. If you miss your vaccines, if you miss a treatment, if you just send them and tie them on a rope, if you keep them locked up, you don't get results. If you want results, put in the right amount of investment, put in the right amount of time, put in the right amount of effort. Cutting corners does not pay in agriculture. It's not like you're owning Amazon. If you own Amazon, fine. You can you can fire several employees. Look at what Elon has done with Twitter. He got rid of a large number of employees, got rid of specific benefits, cut corners, cut costs. The company is booming right now. It's doing well and it's privately owned. So keep you can do that elsewhere, especially in tech. But in agriculture, a person who comes to you and says, wow, you can cut costs here, is a sham. We used to get that sort of advice for maize planting on 7 acres, and we decided to just put in the effort and put in the cost. So initially we were getting from 7 acres 25 bags. We put in the effort, we put in the costs I advised, and we got from 25 bags to 120 bags of maize. So all of that cost cutting doesn't pay. That's the end result of it all. That's what this video is about. It's just advising you to not cut costs. Now, what costs should you incur? Go to a professional. If you're not a professional yourself, go to an agronomist, go to the seed manufacturers, ask them what their specific seed requires, and follow those steps. It's like with our chickens. I know we're doing a lot. It's a mixed farm. So with chickens, we go to our supplier who's Cuckoo Chick. We use Cuckoo Chick's feeds, their concentrates, their starter, their grower, and we follow the roadmap they've given us. We put in the vaccines on time, and our chickens, by the time they reach day 35, they've reached more than 2 kilograms per bird, dead weight. So if you want to be successful, learn from the professionals, swallow your pride, do what they tell you, and put in the investment. If you are not well invested, if you're not well capitalized, you don't have enough capital, you don't have enough cash to do it all, cut down on the projects you're doing, focus majorly on one and grow that one. And that's the advice I can give you. I hope it's useful. uh Today, and I'm not going to show you plants and the garden. I've just done the fertilizing of the tomato garden that's going to be giving me fruit in the rainy season. So fingers crossed, that one also gives me cash. I'm getting small amount of money from my small garden, which was experimental, but it was done poorly, free labor. But I'm still making something from it and I'm not crying about it. So fingers crossed, this one where I've put in all the effort, I'm available for it, actually does well. Pray with me. So next season's plans. What am I doing next season? The season, if you're in Uganda, the next season would be this one going into April, March, April, May, June. It's a shorter season. It's a shorter season by in terms of rain. So what we're doing is we're doing legumes, not maize. Maize takes 4 months to mature if you want to get the dry cob. 3 months if you're doing the green cobs. But we usually do the dry cobs, so for the grain, not for roasting or boiling on the street side. So if you're doing maize for the cob, for the grain, dry maize, I wouldn't advise it, but people will still go for it and people will be successful at it. If you have irrigation, whatever, mom's your uncle. But if you don't, like me, right now we're still working on irrigation, then legumes for the season. I hope that's useful. I'll keep recording videos and posting and sharing, just so that we share information. If you have any input, please go down to the comment section. Your input is valuable to me. Cheers.